everyone. Welcome to Jessica Payne Live. I'm your host, Jessica Payne. And look, we have so many people here already. Hello. We've got Nancy, Corinder, Gina. I see Dave. I see Teresa. I see, who else do I see? Robert. Can one of you give me a quick comment just to let me know you can hear me all right? That's going to be part of my formal intro going forward. I want to make sure. I had 2 packed days at YouTube. One of the biggest things coming out of it were sound. Invest in sound. So the first thing I want to do is make sure you can hear me, okay? So if any one of you can just drop a comment, let me know. Just, yes, we can hear you. That would be amazing. Welcome to Jessica Payne Live. If you're catching me here live, hello, have a seat. I've got a bunch of nuggets to share with you. I can tell you guys are really interested in to know what I learned from YouTube. I've got a ton of notes. But firstly, let me just welcome you. If you're subscribing to me over on the podcast, thank you. Over on YouTube, thank you. Another big thing I learned at YouTube was don't be on just one channel. We're going to dive deep into that today because that's scary. And it doesn't necessarily mean more time on your part. But first things first, subscribe wherever you can find me because I can do that the same for you in return. So great. Thanks, Gina. Loud and clear, she says. How is everybody doing? How are we on our way well into June? It's crazy. Without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in today. First and foremost, if you guys have specific questions about YouTube, content creation, or I really want to start to use these as opportunities for me to workshop live for you, think of them as sort of free office hours. I know I've worked with several of you on the client basis, but honestly, use my brain because it keeps me sharp. I can go back and source information, bring it back to you. I want to make these a little bit more tangible. So drop me a private message if you don't want to comment. But I want to make sure that first and foremost, you know, this is a safe space, an inclusive space, and we're all in this together. So just be brave, drop a comment in there, drop a question, and let's see if we can workshop it for you. Dwayne, you're saying crazy awesome week last week. I know, right? I was seeing what you were doing. You guys follow Dwayne. He's got some great content out there. Very, very helpful stuff. I love when I see you guys using social media and marketing because I follow every single thing that all of you do, by the way, no pressure. But I take notes. I want to make sure that I'm following your progress. So, and we've got Gail. Dang it, something is wrong on my end. Oh, good. You can hear me, Gail. Let me know if you've got questions on YouTube, Gail. I am going to just pummel through all of these notes, but again, I want to make sure that they are helpful for you. All right, Nancy's saying she can hear me fine. All right, first and foremost, if you're brave, comment or send a virtual raise your hand. How many of you, and there's no right or wrong answer, leave a comment if you guys are on YouTube. Now, it's totally fine if you're not. I'm on YouTube. I could do more on YouTube. This session isn't to get you on YouTube, but I just am curious to see how many of you are familiar with that platform. Pummel away, says Gail. I shall. Softly though. Oh, thanks, Corinda. You're saying I love the logo. You know, side note, if you guys are interested in how I created this frame, I can literally do a desktop tutorial if you guys are interested in design. So side note, if you guys are interested in graphic design, watching me do something very simple, I can do that as a future workshop. Awesome. Corinda, you're saying you have a team on YouTube. Great. So you can probably weigh in with some practical experience too. Dwayne, you're saying, yes, you are a little on YouTube. Gail, I feel like you speak the truth. Second wind though. I'm right there with you. And it looks like, oh, good. So it looks like we have a bunch of, an RJ Black Belt Bots is on YouTube. That makes me happy. So basically, let me give you a quick rundown of what the 2 days were in the context. Now, I'm a creator. I'm a queer creator, LGBTQ, happy Pride, by the way. So I'm based right here in Los Angeles, and I'm very lucky because one of YouTube's biggest campuses is located in Los Angeles. I think they've got 8 worldwide, and then of course the Google offices. But right here in LA, they literally have a studio lot. It's crazy. You need like 10,000 subscribers to get access to it. I don't have 10,000 subscribers, but I am a creator. I am a queer creator. So I was invited inside for 2 days. They were extremely generous with their time. And it was 2 days focusing on content creation in the queer space. But a huge part of that conversation was social media strategy, what works on YouTube, what works on social media, and what doesn't. And so, as you can imagine, I was bringing my experience to that and then taking a ton of notes, because it basically let me get some fresh insight and analytics directly from YouTube. So I'm going to do just a little bit of just kind of my highlights and maybe some lowlights from that experience during the next 25 minutes or so. Quick reminder, I'm going to jump on Instagram and give a quick highlight reel. If you want to know a little bit more, you know how to get in touch with me. I also teach this all in my course, which if you just type course in the comments, I can link you later. But let's just jump right in, because there's a lot to take in and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But I've sort of gathered 5 or so big nuggets. So basically, the first thing I learned was we all run social media pages and profiles, right? And then, of course, we all wear a million different hats. If you're a creator on YouTube, same. You have people that are writers, directors, actors. They're doing their own social media marketing. So they actually share a lot in common with us. We have a business to run. Oh, by the way, we have to somehow fit in time week after week to do social media. My world is social media. Yours is probably half that and half your actual business. So first and foremost, you're not alone. The biggest trend now is to start to think more like a creator and less like a social media admin or administrator. We can no longer sort of set it and forget it or be reactive on our pages. I don't think this is new news to you guys, but it's worth repeating. You have to start thinking from the very, very beginning. What is the overarching story that you want to tell on your brands? Get organized and always make sure there's a purpose to that story, and get ahead of it. And why is that helpful? That means you're going to burn less energy. You're going to consolidate your efforts. Your messaging is going to be clear, because at the end of the day, what do I always say? Whatever we do on social media, we want to put purpose behind every second we spend, so that we're really, really efficient and we actually get people what it is we want them to do. Sign up, donate, enroll. Maybe you're growing a fandom. Maybe you're starting a cause. Maybe you're selling a product. Maybe you're trying to just grow your list. I know each and every single one of you have specific goals, but if you're like me, you end up spinning your wheels, having a bad return. Maybe your Facebook ads aren't resonating, or maybe you're just wondering why isn't anyone signing up? At the end of the day, if you walk back from that, chances are it's probably your message is probably unclear. You haven't demonstrated the value. So the first thing and foremost, I want you now to write it down, write in the comments or write it down. I want you to start to think like a creator and less like a social media admin. Think of your social media channels as platforms, individual platforms with their own personalities, challenges, opportunities, and tone. And I want you to I'm going to invite you to, how about, because none of this, I'm not going to force you to do it. Get excited about your take on your story. And that's like my tip number 2. For as many voices as there are on YouTube or social media, it can sometimes feel like the easiest thing to do would be just copy the experts. And I copy experts all day long, but the caveat is I don't borrow their style. I don't borrow their personality. People buy into me. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys watching right now are the face of your businesses. I think most of you are pretty visible. So I really invite you to, it's scary. Like Dwayne, you and I have talked about this. It's sort of like when you're ready, your biggest opportunity is for your personality to come forward. We hear that word authenticity, which can kind of get boring and the word loses meaning because we keep repeating it. But Corinder, what is your take? What is your lived experience? What can you bring forward that you've gone through that directly relates to what you're selling, what you're doing? Or Dwayne, your journey, bring that forward. Where are you in life? It's sort of like, are you a dad? Are you a parent? Have you survived a really big health scare? Now is the time, I'm hearing, because social media is very crowded, but you are the only one with your experience. And there are people out there, and this is the third thing, there are people out there that are just searching for someone that's like themselves. People are hungry for content, even if they're not ready to buy from you, by the way, right away or enroll. Maybe they're not let's say you're a realtor and they're not, I know realtors do their homework. Let's say they're not ready to buy a house or sell a house, but they like you. They're going to subscribe to your newsletter, or they might even enroll in your course, or they might just attend your next live. And you and I both know that's your biggest opportunity to just start that relationship. And 9 times out of 10, people buy into the person. We're seeing something I'm really seeing. This is a big observation, and I tweeted about it this morning, was it's really interesting how awkward it is when people are trying to do the same thing on different channels. That's my 4th thing. I'm speeding through this, but I am going to back it up so I can answer questions. This is just off the cuff, though. One thing I'm seeing is the biggest takeaway is you have to start to think beyond one channel. And this is YouTube telling us that. They're like, we're not the only channel out there. YouTube is kind of like an archive for your stuff. But I know a lot of us spend a lot of time on Facebook. We're a certain demographic. It's up to us, and our biggest opportunity, our biggest lost opportunity, if we ignore it, is to go on other channels. I want you to, and I teach this in my course, you need to start to think beyond Facebook. Don't leave Facebook, but how can you spend more time on Twitter? How can you spend more time on Instagram or Twitch or whatever makes sense? I think the biggest thing is diversity, because we all spend different time on different channels. And it's sometimes easy to forget that. And your most powerful marketing strategy is to diversify.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.